So let's try and understand what's the difference between e-commerce, affiliate marketing, drop shipping. A lot of you guys have been wanting to understand this, and I see a lot of videos on Facebook, YouTube, which talks about how they can help you make a lot of money overnight through e-commerce, through drop shipping, through affiliate. But I think about 80% of them are far from the reality in terms of what actually these platforms or the business would mean. So we thought it might be meaningful for us to create a video which helps you understand what are these different models, and also helps you understand uh, what problems that each of these business models would have. So I would probably start with a story. The story goes, let's say I have a website and I want to make money out of it. So yeah, so I have a website, and so I created a website, I created a lot of content, and then I have a lot of people who visit my website, and hence I realized that there is some opportunity for me to generate revenue through advertisement or sales. So I thought the easiest one was to start with advertisement. So basically I had a lot of traffic on my website, and hence there was an opportunity for me. Right, so my website has a lot of traffic, so there's an opportunity for me to generate revenue through advertisement. So the easiest way to generate revenue through ads is I create a website, I have traffic, I go to Google, I search for Google AdSense, and I create my account in Google AdSense, and Google will take some time to approve my Google AdSense account. So once the account is approved, I can uh, and once the account is approved, I go ahead, generate a code from the account, and paste it to my website. That's it. So creating an AdSense account and getting it connected to your website is very simple. You generate a code, you put that piece of code on your website. Wherever you're going to add that piece of code on your website, Google Ads would start running ads on those websites, on those pages. However, the amount of money that you would make through Google AdSense will depend on a lot of parameters, including the quality of traffic, the kind of content that you have, the advertisers who are willing to advertise on your website, and so many other parameters as well. But that's one way of generating revenue through advertisement. The other way besides Google AdSense could be you could use other ad networks like Taboola or an AdRoll, and there could be few others as well. And you could be a part of. So, like you go and create your account with Google AdSense, you could do something like this with check with other publisher networks. So you could call them as ad networks, or you could also search for publisher networks, and then you could be a part of their network and again generate revenue through advertisement. So that's one of the first models that a lot of people, when they create a website, they start generating revenue through advertisement. And let's say over a period of time, uh, then the perception starts developing as to I'm not able to generate enough revenue through advertisements, or is there something that I can look beyond advertisement uh, revenue model? So then the next logical question is, okay, I have a lot of traffic on my website. Why don't I go and start selling a product on my website? So the moment I think of selling a product, the first thing is which product that I should be selling. Should I be stocking the inventory, or how to go about it. So then the simplest method is to become an affiliate marketer, which is so then the most easiest thing is to be an affiliate marketer. So what you do as an affiliate marketer is you go and become a partner to websites or brands that you would want to promote the product on your website. So basically, if you go to Amazon site, you will have an option to become an affiliate here. If you search for affiliate networks, there are a lot of those other affiliate networks as well, Commission Junction, and there are so many others. In fact, today almost all the bigger brands would have their own affiliate network, as in you could go and become a part of their network and start promoting them on your website. So what essentially you do in affiliate marketing is uh, so so if TripAdvisor or Trivago, a lot of these websites, they do not sell the hotel rooms themselves. They would have inventories from different platforms. In this case, when I'm on TripAdvisor, and most of the deals come from Expedia. So what I do is I click here, I go to Expedia, I buy a hotel booking from Expedia, and TripAdvisor might make some money. Or for that matter, Trivago is also an affiliate marketing site. Or you have these coupon sites, deal sites, wherein to claim a coupon you go to the other website. So basically in affiliate marketing, what you do is you divert your website traffic to other websites. You get paid only when someone buys the product from the other website. So this is how it is. So you go to Trivago, you search for a hotel, and it'll show you a lot of hotels. Compare, you can compare their prices. You can see deals, and now you can see it has it from Booking.com or Agoda. And so what it does is it will send you to a Booking.com. You book a hotel from Booking.com, and then once the sale happens, Trivago gets a commission. So that is affiliate marketing. So essentially, what you do as an affiliate marketer is you divert your traffic on your website to your partner websites, whichever product that you wish to promote. And if people buy the product, you get a certain percentage commission out of it. So that is affiliate marketing. So with the same amount of with the same traffic that you had on your website, one of the opportunities was to generate revenue through advertisement. The other opportunity is to generate revenue through affiliate marketing. So as a website owner, I thought AdSense was some limited revenue opportunity for me. So why not explore affiliate marketing? Now, if I'm a good affiliate marketer and I understand a little bit of technology, I'll also be able to gauge how many people actually I send to other websites from my website, how many people I divert to the other websites. So let's say if I had sent 100 people and then I get commission for only, let's say, 3% or 4% of people who go out of my website, maybe I could be forced to think that I'm losing a lot of potential revenue because I'm sending people away from my website to other website. And that's when I start thinking, how about selling these products on my own website? And that's when, for the first time, I start thinking uh, which products I should be selling and how to go about it. So to sell any product on my website, I would need to have a inventory. I'll have to have a supply chain, right? I should have a logistics partner. I will have to block my money because I will have inventory blocked, and I'll need a huge amount of capital, to manage inventory, to manage supply chain, and a lot of things. So that's when a model which comes to the rescue is drop shipping. So what you do in drop shipping is you create your own website, as in you already have traffic. So you start listing products. You talk to multiple vendors outside, and the deal here is you sell the product at your end, you collect the money and you keep a percentage of the money and give the remaining to the third party supplier, and the supplier would courier or ship the product to the customer. So the customer buys the product from you while the product is delivered by someone else, which could be your partner. And this is where, if you have to be a good drop shipper, you'll have to be well connected with suppliers. The success of a drop shipper will lie in terms of what kind of suppliers you have. Do you have some competitive edge in terms of like the quality of the product, or a special pricing that you command, or it has to be something which is unique that your supplier helps you with. So in drop shipping model, uh, you, let's say if you are a website, uh, or a business, whatever, and you have a lot of traffic, you want to be a drop shipper. So what you do is you go and tie up with vendors for products at a commission, at a sales commission, and then you start selling the product on your website. The customers buy the product from your website. You keep your commission, pay the remaining to the vendor. The vendor ships the product. So this is the drop shipping model, right? So nice model, because you don't have to keep the inventory with you, which means your money for blocking the inventory is not there. Logistics is not something that you have to manage at this point of time, which eventually is going to be a big pain. But yes, initially you can get started with drop shipping. Now, what happens with a lot of drop shippers in subsequent stages is, the moment you start building traction, you have people, because since people are buying it from you, it is you as the brand who's the supplier of those products. The customers do not understand where does the product come from, but for them, you are the seller, right? It's like those IRCTC tickets being sold in in the villages. So if you ask the guys in the village, they would say, okay, there is a booking agent who helps you book a railway ticket. But eventually what the travel agent does is they book it on the IRCTC itself, while the customers can also directly go and buy it from IRCTC. But for them, the agent is the point of contact, connect for booking the tickets, right? And then they charge a percentage over booking of the tickets here. But here, so basically in drop shipping, you are the point of contact for the customer, and then you place an order to the vendor as in the supplier couriers it to the product, the ships it to the customer, right? So you don't have to get into hassles. But what happens is, the moment your brand starts becoming big, you have regular customers, and then one fine day what happens is, your customer has paid you money, you place an order with your vendor. The vendor might not have product within stock at that point of time, and hence you might have to say no to your existing customer. Might be possible that the vendor would have tried a cheap logistics partner, and hence there are delivery issues with your customer, and the customer could be irritated for not getting the product on time, and you are losing a potential customer of a lifetime. And when all of these things start happening, then you think you might be better off having an inventory with yourself, because then you will be able to control the stock, you'll be able to control the logistics and the supply chain. And that's when you think of creating a inventory led e-commerce, right? So what does this inventory led e-commerce mean? Inventory led is, I have the inventory with me, which means the products are there. Now what happens in the inventory led e-commerce is, I'll either buy products upfront from the vendors at bulk, and since I'm going to play on the margins, so either I'll have to buy product upfront, or I buy products on credit, right? And then I'll also have to have a logistics partner as well. As in, now I'm going to manage the logistics. So I'll have to have a logistics partner, and then I'll have to get into the entire gamut of the e-commerce, which is I have product, I have stock, I'll have dead stock, I'll have transit, I'll have wastage, I'll have then again in the courier part, there would be delays. I'll have to have a customer support team, and then it's a huge, all of these are going to be big responsibility, because you'll have to manage a lot of them. And then on top of it, since you have your money blocked, because either you would have bought the product upfront. So let's say you bought 100 pieces of a product upfront. So your money is blocked till the time all those 100 pieces are sold, and then you recover your money, right? So if your marketing is not great, you might not be able to sell it. You have your money blocked till the time all these products are sold. Or even if you buy it on credit, so let's say you buy a product and you get a credit cycle of 30 days or 20 days or 15 days or whatever it is. But if your forecasting is not good, you're not able to sell all the products, which means you might still have the product with you that is not sold, but you might have to pay for all those products. So that's again as good as, after 15 days, that's again as good as, buying a product upfront, because your money is blocked in the inventory, and it will only be recovered when you have sales happening. So then you get into all the nitty-gritties of managing inventory, managing customer, managing logistics, supply chain, cash on delivery, return ratio. You have refund policies, and there are certain categories wherein the return ratio is huge. So what happens when you have a return, when the products are returned, in so imagine the amount of money which is blocked. So you have a product which you courier it to the customer. It takes about 3-4 days for the product to reach to the customer. The customer returns the product, not finding it fit or whatever. It takes about 4 days for the product to come back to you. So it's like 8 days that you have the product which is in transit and is managed by the logistics guys. And within this, there might be 20% wastage, as in during the transit. Some of the if it is a breakable product, you might, some of those products might break, and you have a breakage loss there. So that's roughly around 15-20%. So imagine a lot of these hassles that you'll have to go through, and for your money is again blocked for 8-10 days because the product is in the transit. And blocked as in, if the product is in the transit, you cannot even send the same product to someone else till the time you receive it, right? So all these issues are going to be there if you create an inventory-led e-commerce. However, the difference between drop shipping and inventory-led e-commerce is, in a drop shipping model, you might have X percentage as a commission. In an inventory-led e-commerce, you will have X plus 2 as a commission, because here you managing the inventory, you are managing the logistics, and you control the relationship with your customer. So a lot of things are within your control as well, which in drop shipping you might not have. So that's the inventory-led e-commerce model, right? And then one fine day you think, okay, you have 1,100 people visiting your website, out of which 15% are buying products from you. But then there are 85 who are not buying products from you, they're buying it from somewhere else. And if there are other players who are also good. So you say, since you've already spent a lot of money in terms of marketing, you've got these people on your website, how about getting the other players also to come on your website and start selling on your website, so that you make money on 15% of your sales, and you also get some percentage of sales that happens for the others' products. And they could be your competitors as well, as in competing products on your website. So that's when you probably start a marketplace, which is where Flipkart, Amazon, a lot of these guys are still there in the marketplace. So of course, with the with a lot of new laws in the Indian e-commerce industry, wherein a marketplace cannot have its own set of products. Prior to that, Flipkart used to sell its own products on flipkart.com. So by the name of some retail or something, I'll have to check. So they used to sell products by themselves, and they would also have people selling the same product on their platform. So that's a marketplace model wherein you allow everyone to sell on your platform. You charge them percentage of the sales, so that, and then if you're a seller by yourself, so you make some money on the sales that you do, and some percentage commission on what others sell on your website. So probably you get a little better ROI on your marketing cost. That's what you think. However, now with the latest laws that the government has, I think for a marketplace, either is a marketplace or it's a inventory led model. I mean, a marketplace cannot start selling the products on itself. So of course they found out certain loopholes or work around it. But yeah, that's how it is. So this is the story of how people reach to this stage with a website. Now all these are business models. Some people stay at the AdSense level in terms of the advertisement revenue model itself. There are some people who will go on to the extent of becoming an affiliate marketer and satisfied there itself. There are some people who grow to the next level of being a drop shipper. There are some people who also go beyond it to inventory-led e-commerce. And then there are some who want to be a marketplace. Each of these would have their own challenges, would have their own plus and minus, right? However, none of it is very easy. You'll have a lot of competition, because the first and the most important part for any of these business models is to drive a lot of traffic, which is where you don't make money out of drop shipping or affiliate marketing or marketplace or any of this unless and until you have a lot of traffic, right? So to drive traffic, you will have to implement marketing strategies. Right? So you'll have to drive a lot of traffic by implementing marketing strategies, which could be digital marketing strategies, it could be offline marketing strategies, but you'll have to implement. So this is the core. If you don't have traffic, you'll not be able to make any money out of it. So when people say that we'll help you identify a e-commerce niche, beware. Identifying an e-commerce niche does not necessarily mean that you would be able to do that business very well. So please understand, when you do e-commerce, it's like selling a product. The only thing is you selling it online, but otherwise it's as good as selling a product offline. So does every ration shop make a lot of money? Does every apparel store make a lot of money? Does every consumer durable shop make a lot of money? No, not all of them make money, right? There would be some who make a lot of money. There are some who make average. And what is the difference? The difference between these two could be in terms of their understanding of the domain, their understanding of the supply chain. They have to have some core expertise in the entire value, which is from the man. So in my opinion, if let's say tomorrow you see a lot of people are selling masks, and you think that, okay, let me start selling masks and we'll make a lot of money, you will not. Trust me, you will not make money. You have to be someone who understands how that business works. You'll have to understand the customer, you'll have to understand the business dynamics, you'll have to understand how the entire ecosystem around that product works. And if you have an understanding of any such product, that is where probably you'll be able to do a little better in terms of product sales. Otherwise, I think every big organization would have been into everything. Reliance could be probably doing everything in India, but they don't do it for a reason that they might still feel that there are certain things which could be their competency. There are certain things which may not be their competency. They'll leave it for others as well. So I hope this little bit of information helps you understand what these various models are and how they could be interlinked or they could be standalone, but you also understand what is the core